Single-phase hybrid inverter installation guide. Our energy storage inverter with excellent performance to generate more electricity and bring higher yield to customer. With battery connected, system can storage excess EV energy and provide backup output. There is also a generator port to connect generator or smart loads. Inverter can be monitored on app. With network connected, customer can also manage their plants remotely. This video will guide you the installation of inverter, including steps, preparation before installing, inverter installation, electrical connection, communication accessory, power on inverter, and commissioning. Unpacking carton and carry inverter out. Let's have a look at inverter appearance and connectors first. On the bottom side, we could find grounding terminal to install grounding cable, 3 AC ports for connection of grid, backup load, and generator, smart load, on-grid inverter, communication port 1 for Wi-Fi dongle, and communication port 2, 2 pairs of PV input, PV switch, battery port. At the same time, following packing list to check inverter accessories. Mounting bracket, 3 pairs of M12 expansion screws to install mounting bracket on wall. M6 security screw to lock inverter with mounting bracket. CT sensor with RJ45 connector and cable. 2 pieces of 4 pins connector. 1 piece of 9 pins connector. 2 pieces battery connector. 1 piece AC connector for grid port. 2 pieces AC connectors for backup and gen ports. Removal tool for grid, backup, gen connector. 2 pairs PV terminal connector group, PV positive, PV negative. Removal tool for PV connector. Wi-Fi dongle and some file documents. Besides, here introduce other tools required for installation. Drill, hammer, adjustable wrench, socket wrench, wire stripper, nipper pliers, diagonal pliers, crimping pliers, hydraulic pliers, knife, slotted screwdriver, straight screwdriver, hex wrench, multimeter, DC terminal tightening tool. Inverter must be installed at the place where is free from direct exposure of sunlight, rain, and snow, with enough space and good cooling condition to ensure performance and longer lifetime. Taking out bracket and mounting it on suitable support. Mount inverter to bracket and tighten security screw on inverter right side. Wiping off insulation layer of ground cable, crimping the cable into OT terminal and insulated well by tape. Removing the screws of inverter ground terminal. Install the grounding cable. Wiping off insulation layer of AC cables. Loosening the prevention nut of AC terminal cover. Cross cables through them. Installing live, neutral, earth wires to terminal and tighten each screws. Installing terminal cover back to AC port, then tighten the prevention nut. Identifying PV connectors, the positive and negative ones, as well as metal connectors matching to them. Wiping off insulation layer of PV cables. Crimping them well with metal connectors by pliers. Please pay attention, the crimping limiter on positive metal connector. Loosening the prevention nuts of PV connectors. Cross crimped cables through nuts and insert them to connectors. Then lock nuts and connectors well. Measuring and checking voltage and polarities of PV string by multimeter. Inserting strings into corresponding PV terminals of inverter until a click sound. Our inverter supports maximum 120 ampere charge-discharge current. Here, recommend 25mm squared cables for battery connection. The length of cable no longer than 3 meters, and installing a 150 ampere external breaker. Note: unapproved battery connector being used will cause fire and electrical risk. Wiping off insulation layer of battery cables. Crimping them into battery connectors we provide. Connect battery cables to inverter battery terminal. Remove the waterproof cover communication port 1 and identify functions and pins map of each port. Use as actual demands. CT communication. Cross CT cable through waterproof nut and cover. Insert it into CT meter port. Clamp CT sensor on live wire of grid side. Arrow direction on CT from grid towards inverter. And process same settings on app. Power limit setting page. Meter installation. If you use meter for export port control, here please use pin 1 and 2 as A and B of RS485 communication with meter. BMS communication. BMS communication is mandatory for lithium battery. On inverter side, we use pin 4 and 5 as CAN-H and CAN-L. Please refer battery manual and its pin definition to create the BMS cable. Note: accept defective BMS cable. Please also make sure inverter and battery protocols are matching. Inverter will escape from warranty if unapproved battery is used. Parallel communication. If system with multiple inverters in parallel, a parallel communication cable is necessary. All 4 pins of parallel connector are needed, and terminal resistors of the first inverter and last inverter shall be switched to on. Please refer Inverter Parallel Connection Guide for details. Dry contact for generator startup. If system connected with generator, inverter could output dry signal to start up, stop it per settings. Here we use pin 1 and 2 of 9 pins connector for dry output and generator control. DRM connection. If system used external dread, please connect it to DRM port and enable DRM on app. RS485 connection. RS485 is available on our inverter. Upper devices can use RS485 ports A and B to communication with inverter. Crossing communication cables through waterproof nut. Insert each corresponding port, then lock nut tightly. Take out Wi-Fi dongle from package. Remove plate of Wi-Fi port, then plug Wi-Fi dongle there and tighten screws. Check PV, battery, AC are all wiring correctly. Then turn on external switches and PV switch on inverter. Download SolarTouch from Google Play or App Store. Opening app and click Bluetooth for local connection. Scanning inverter serial number barcode and connect to inverter. On app homepage, you could overview system status and slide down to check real-time parameters of each part. Go to Quick Setup menu, confirm regulation setting, export power control setting, and working mode setting. Then put on inverter.